Hi, in this video we will learn how to solve time and work related aptitude questions in the simplest way possible. The only formula that you need to remember is this. Productivity is equal to work divided by time. There is no need to remember any other shortcuts. We'll see plenty of examples on how to apply this formula. Now there are three steps involved in solving a question. First step is you read the question, you understand what answer they are looking for. Next, you convert that question into simple equations and then you solve those equations. Now different problems might require different style of solving, which you will learn naturally as you solve more and more problems. Let us take a look at the first question. A can do a work in 3 days, B can do the same work in 6 days, and C can do the same work in 7 days. If they work together, how many days will they take to complete the work? Feel free to pause the video here if you would like to solve the question yourself. The first step is to form equations. We can write equation for A's productivity as A is equal to W by 3. Similarly for B and C. Now if A, B and C work together, their productivity adds up. So we can write it like A plus B plus C is equal to W by X. We need to find X, number of days. Now information about X is present in this equation, but there are other terms involved, A, B and C. A, B and C values are present in above equations. We simply have to substitute those values in this equation. W is common in LHS and RHS, so we take it out. And this will simply become a problem of adding fractions. We have to take LCM, we have to get a common denominator, and then we add numerators and solve for X. Answer is 14 by 9 days. Question 2. P and Q can do a work in 12 days. Q and R can do the same work in 16 days. And R and B can do it in 24 days. Find the time in which P, Q and R can finish the work together. Forming equations is like this. If P and Q work together, their productivity adds up. So P plus Q is equal to W by 12. Similarly for Q and R and P. Now if we assume P, Q and R can finish the work in X number of days, we can write it like P plus Q plus R is equal to W by X. We need to find X. There are two approaches to solve this problem. The first approach is like this. We have three equations and we have three variables P, Q and R. We can solve them. If we had four variables and three equations, we may not be able to solve them. So now if we want to eliminate one variable, we consider equation 1 and equation 2. The common variable is Q. If we want to eliminate Q, we have to do equation 1 minus equation 2. So that this is plus Q and this is minus Q, which will cancel out. So now we have another equation in terms of P and R, and here we have R plus P. So now if we want to eliminate another variable, we just have to add these two equations. So that here we have minus R and here we have plus R, which will cancel out. So we find the value of P. So now if we substitute this value of P in this equation, we will find the value of R. And if you substitute the value of P in this equation, we find the value of Q. If you substitute value of P, Q and R, equation number 4, you will find the value of X. Now there is another approach which is like this. Now what if you add all three equations? So here you have one set of P, Q and R. Here you have another set of P, Q and R. So which will be like if you add all three 1 plus 2 plus 3 equations, you will get in terms of equation number 4. Let me show the solution. And there is the answer, 32 divided by 3 days. You will get to know which approach to take as you solve more and more problems. You don't need to remember anything, it will come naturally. Your speed of solving improves as you practice more. You don't need to write all of the steps. Some of the steps you can do it mentally. Question 3. If 24 men can finish a work in 10 days, then find the number of days required to complete the same work by 30 men. Now if 24 men work together, we can write equation like m plus m plus m until 24 times is equal to w by 10. Now repeated addition is nothing but multiplication. So we can rewrite this equation like 24 into m is equal to w by 10. By the same logic, for 30 men, we write it like 30 into m is equal to w by x number of days. We need to find x. We just divide those two equations to eliminate m and w and then try to solve for x. Answer is 8 number of days. Question 4. If 3 men can do a work in 2 days and 4 boys can do the same work in 6 days, then in how many days will the same work be completed by 8 men and 8 boys? This is very similar to question 3. We can write equations like 3m is equal to w by 2 and 4b is equal to w by 6. Now 8 men and 8 boys, if they work together, we can write equation like 8 into m plus their productivity adds plus 8 into b is equal to w by x. So we simply substitute m and b values in the third equation to get x. Answer is 3 by 5 days. Question 5. A can work 5 times faster than B and takes 60 days less than B to complete the work. In how many days does A and B individually can complete the work? Forming equations is like this. A can work 5 times faster than B. That means A's productivity is 5 times of B. Now, if B takes X number of days, A takes 60 days less than X. 60 days less than X means X minus 60. We need to find how many days does A take and how many days does B take. That is, we need to find X minus 60 and X. Solution would be to substitute A and B values in the first equation and then solving for X and finding X minus 60 and X. Question 6. P can do a work in 30 days. Q is 25% more efficient than P in completing the same work. In how many days will Q complete the work? This is similar to previous question. Forming equations. Productivity of P is equal to W by 30. Now Q is 25% more efficient than P. That means whatever is the productivity of P, on top of that, if we add 25% of P, we get Q. 25% is nothing but 25 by 100. So Q is equal to 100% productivity of P plus 25% of P. We need to find X, meaning how many number of days Q can complete the work. Solving is like this. Q is equal to 1.25P. From the second equation, we need to substitute value of P, which is W by 30. to get the value of x, which is 24 days. Question 7. A can do a piece of work in 4 hours. B and C together can do it in 3 hours, while A and C together can do it in 2 hours. How long will B alone take to do it? Whatever basics we went through till now in this video should be enough to solve this question. Pause the video here and try to solve it on your own. Solution goes like this. A's productivity can be written as A is equal to W by 4. Now if B and C work together, their productivity adds up. So we can write it like B plus C is equal to W by 3. Similarly for A and C. We need to find how many hours will B take to complete the work. So the way of solving these equations is like this. We need to find x. Information about x is in this equation, but there is a variable b. Now information about b is in this equation, but there is a variable c. Information about c is present in this equation, but there is a variable a. Information about a is in this equation. So we substitute value of a in this equation to find the value of c. Now we have the value of c, which we will substitute in the second equation and find the value of b. And the answer is 12 hours. Question 8. A can complete a work in 12 days and B can complete in 8 days. A works for 8 hours every day while B works for 10 hours every day. If A and B start working together for 8 hours per day, in how many days will they complete the work? Now forming equations is like this. Now if we write A's productivity as A is equal to W by 12 and B's productivity as B is equal to W by 8, it would be wrong because they are working different number of hours per day. A is working for 8 hours every day and B is working for 10 hours every day. So we have to take both days and hours into account. So A is working for 12 days into 8 hours every day. So the total number of hours that A has worked is 12 into 8. Similarly for B, it is 8 into 10. Now if they start working together, we can write like A plus B is equal to W divided by 8 hours per day into number of days which we have to find. So that will be x. We need to find x. Now solving is simple. We just have to substitute value of A here and value of B here and then solve using fractions. Answer is 60 by 11 days. Working 8 hours a day. Question 9. A does 80% of the work in 20 days. He then calls in B and they together finish the remaining work in 3 days. How long B alone would take to do the whole work? Forming equations is like this. Now the work is split. A completes 80% of the work. So the remaining amount of work is 100% minus 80%, which is 20%. Now the first 80% A will complete, the next 20% A and B together will finish that. So now for the first 80% we can write it like A's productivity is equal to 80% of the work. 80% is nothing but 80 divided by 100 into total work divided by 20 days. Similarly, for the next 20%, since A and B work together, their productivity adds up. So A and B, they will work together and complete the remaining 20% of the work. 20% is nothing but 20 by 100 of the work, meaning multiplication. In 3 days. So divided by 3 days. Productivity is equal to work divided by time. So we need to find how many days will B take to complete the work. Now solving is like this. We need to find B. B is present in this equation, but A is present. So we simply substitute value of A in this equation to get value of B. So the answer is 75 by 2 days. Question 10. Sita and Geeta can do a work in 20 days and 25 days respectively. Both begin working together, but after a few days, Sita leaves. Then Geeta finishes the remaining work in 10 days. How many days did Sita work? We can form equations like Sita can complete the work in 20 days and Geeta can complete the work in 25 days. Now, the second part of the question says initially Sita and Geeta work together, but then later only Geeta has worked. So that means work is split. W1 plus W2 is equal to the total work W. W1, the work, is done by Sita and Geeta. W2 is done by Geeta alone. So for W1, we can write equation like Sita and Geeta has completed work W1 in X number of days. Geeta has done W2 in 10 days. Now we can combine these three equations into one equation by substituting values of W1 and W2 in the first equation. Now we have to find X. Now there is a note here. The basic formula that we learned is productivity is equal to work divided by time, which we can also think like productivity into time is equal to work. With sufficient practice, you can skip the intermediate equations and write this equation directly. Solving is simple. We just have to substitute values of S and G in this equation. Answer is 20 divided by 3 days. Question 11. When P alone does a work, it takes 25 days more than the time taken by P and Q working together to complete the work. But Q alone takes 9 days more than the time taken by P and Q working together to complete the work. In what time P and Q finish the work? Now forming equations is like this. For P's productivity is dependent on P and Q working together. Similarly, Q's productivity is also dependent on P and Q working together. So we'll write equation for P and Q working together. Let's say they complete the work in X number of days. Now going back to the question, it says when P alone does a work, it takes 25 days more than P and Q. So if P and Q takes X number of days, Q takes 25 days more than X. That means X plus 25. Similarly, Q takes 9 days more than P and Q. We need to find X. Solving is simple. We just substitute values of P and Q in the first equation. Since W is common in both LHS and RHS, we cancel that. Now this will become a problem of adding fractions. Since the denominators are different, we need to take LCM, which is X plus 25 into X plus 9. Now in order to add these fractions, the denominators need to be same. So we multiply this fraction by X plus 9 in both numerator and denominator so that we get X plus 9 in the numerator and X plus 25 into X plus 9 in the denominator. Similarly, for this fraction, we multiply both numerator and denominator by x plus 25 so that we get x plus 25 in the numerator and x plus 9 into x plus 25 in the denominator. Now for this fraction and this fraction, since denominators are same, we can add the numerators. After simplifying, we will arrive at this equation. After further simplification, we see that x square is equal to 225. So the answer is 15 days. Question 12. A machine P can print 1 lakh books in 8 hours. A machine Q can print the same number of books in 10 hours, while machine R can print them in 12 hours. All the machines are started at 9 am, while machine P is closed at 11 am, and the remaining two machines complete the work. Approximately at what time will the work to print 1 lakh books be finished? Forming equations is like this. Productivity of machine P is P is equal to W by 8. Similarly for Q and R. Now let's say machine Q and R has worked for Y hours. Machine P has worked for 2 hours, that is from 9 am till 11 am. Machine Q and R have worked Y hours starting from 9 am. That means we can write it like 9 am plus Y hours is equal to X am or pm, which we have to find. Approximately at what time will the work be finished? We need to find X. So the basic formula is productivity is equal to work divided by time. Here the work is split. Since P is contributing only for 2 hours and Q and R are contributing for Y hours starting from 9 am. So we can write like productivity into time is equal to work. So for P, productivity is P, time is 2 hours, 9 am till 11 am. Productivity into time. For Q and R, they have worked for Y hours. So Q into Y and R into Y is equal to work done. We need to find X. So in order to find X, we need to find Y. In order to find Y, we have to solve this equation, but there are variables P, Q and R, which we simply substitute from above equations. So 45 by 11 is approximately 4. So X is 9 am plus 4 hours, which is 1 pm, which is the answer. Question 13. Raj can build a house alone in 16 days and Suraj can build it alone in 12 days. Raj and Suraj work on alternate days. If Raj works on the first day, how many days will it take to build the house? Equations are like this. R is equal to W by 16. S is equal to W by 12. Now, since Raj and Suraj work on alternate days and Raj works on the first day, so that means Raj works on the first day, on the second day Suraj works, on the third day Raj works. So it goes on like that. On the first day, if we say Raj has completed certain amount of work, that means we can write work is equal to productivity into time. Productivity is R and into time is 1 day. Equation goes like this. Raj has worked for 1 day and the next day Suraj comes and the next day Raj works. It goes on like that. So let's say Raj has worked for X number of days and Suraj has worked for Y number of days. We need to find the total number of days it took to build the house, which is x plus y. Now, for solving this equation, we need to substitute values of r and s in this equation. If we simplify it, we will arrive at this equation. 3x plus 4y is equal to 48. Since there is one equation and two variables, x and y, we may not be able to. So we go for trial and error. Now let's say they have worked for equal number of is equal to 48. 48 by 7, which is close to 6.8. So that means they have worked close to 6.8. We'll put those values in this equation just to see if this value will match 48 or not. If we put x is equal to 7 and y is equal to 6 in this, 3 into 7, which is 21, plus 4 into 6, 24. 21 plus 24 is 45. Now that value is less than 48. So if x is equal to 7, that means Raj has worked for 7 days. Now Suraj has worked for 6 days. The next the next day, Suraj has to work. That means y is equal to 7. If you put x is equal to 7 and y is equal to 7 in this equation, we will get value 49, which is more than the RHS, which is 48. So that means y is somewhere in between 6 and 7. That means Suraj has worked for complete 6 days and some part of the next day. That can be half day or 3 by 4th day. So the same equation will substitute x is equal to 7 and we'll solve for y. We'll get the answer as 6.75 days. So the answer they are looking for is how many days Raj and Suraj worked. That is 13.75 days. Summary. All you need to know is one simple equation to solve almost all of the time and work related aptitude problems. This ends the video. Let me know your feedback in comments and if there are any interesting aptitude questions that you would like me to solve. Thanks.